for another lecture. I know it's been a while since the last one, and I thought I was going to do this more often, but cut me some slack. Anyway, this is just a first test run. I'm going to go through, let me turn this down a little bit more. There we go. Excellent. This one's on ancient Greek pottery. I think it will be a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun researching it and coming up with the layout of the lecture. Let's get started. First slide, I did 4 through a page because it saves paper and I care about the environment and things like that. Anyway, ancient Greek pottery. A brief chronological overview from Minoan to Attic. I wanted to do a chronological overview because it's the most direct and, I think, concise way of just giving you a good idea of the history of Greek pottery. There are other ways of doing it, but this is an introduction to 9th graders. So, we don't need to get too into the nitty-gritty details of a particular style or particular workshop. This isn't an intense archaeological survey. Anyway, we'll start with the Minoans. And they're well known for their marine style. Now, a little thing about the Minoans, they're a merchant civilization based off the island of Crete. They weren't warlike, they really were merchants. Their cities didn't even have city walls. They had little fortification. It's amazing they lasted as long as they did, but they were able to because they were excellent traders. And they're known for their marine style. If you notice, there's octopus there, a fish there. Those images decorated many of their pottery, many of their pots, much of their pottery. And you have to ask yourself, why marine life? Why the sea? Well, they're on an island, they were merchants, which means they spent a lot of time on ships, sailing off to different Grecian islands, Egypt even, North Africa. So, and no doubt they relied on the sea not just as a means of transportation, but I'm sure they did a lot of fishing, got a lot of food from the sea. They harvested food from the sea, and it just factored into their life a lot. So, they depicted marine life on their pottery. On top of that, they're known for their very naturalistic approach. That octopus looks like an octopus, and the way its tentacles are moving around seems to represent the way tentacles generally move around. This is not stylized so much as an attempt to recreate what an octopus really looks like. And anyway, Minoan civilization goes on for a while. It reaches its apogee during the first half of the 2nd millennium BC. At this time, they used their cultural dominance to develop their artistic skills. Just take a look at this example right here of papyrus in relief. You notice that in addition to painting a finely detailed papyrus plant, they've got here, there we go, it's in relief. So they're able to come up with a technique that has the images sort of come out at you. Cool. And yeah, that was about 1500 BC when that happened. Also, on their stone vessels, they often have depictions of human forms. And you'll notice, if you can get a good look at this, that's a very detailed human form. Look, you can see the muscle structure, even some of the skeletal structure almost in that, the rib cage. So this is the result of a careful study of the human form. And on top of that, just the scene itself. It's the scene of the harvest. When you think, I don't know, me personally, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think Grecian pottery, I think depictions of warriors, Homeric epics, but this was before the Homeric epics. This was before the Mycenaean civilization, which I'll get to a little bit later. But, so the Minoans, merchant people, not warlike, and they depicted scenes of the harvest, which was no doubt very important for them. Another interesting thing, the type of vessel called a rhyton, or rhyton. It's a vessel from which fluids are poured, often ritualistically. So, let me show you the picture of it. So you put the fluid in the top, and then you put your thumb or a stopper in the top, which y'all remember this from your grade school science classes. You fill up a milk jug full of water with a hole in the bottom. If you keep the top plugged, water ain't going to come out of that hole in the bottom, even though there's a hole in the bottom, but it's not going to come out because there's some scientific explanation I don't know, something about pressure. That's why I'm an art history major. But yeah, so that's what these vessels are. And I think it's interesting to note that on Crete, a lot of bullhead vessels are found. And if you know your mythology, you'll know that the Minotaur was on the island of Crete. Now, I'm not saying that they had the legend of the Minotaur, and then they made these, or they made these, and then that gave birth to the legend of the Minotaur. I don't know. It's a chicken or the egg question. Someone might know the answer, but I don't. I just think it's a cool little connection you got going there. Of course the Minotaur would put bullhead rhytons. The Minotaur lived there. Ooh. Anyway, now we've come to the end of the Minoan civilization and the rise of the Mycenaeans.